The hall of the Galactic selection was filled with cold lights and silent judgment. Rows of alien leaders sat on high platforms, their glowing eyes fixed on the young ones brought before them. Each child stood in a single beam of light, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be claimed. For most, this moment was the beginning of a new life, a life of purpose, a life of belonging. But for one girl, it was something else. She was small, thin, and strange. Metal and flesh mixed unevenly across her body. Her left arm was smooth and pale like a child's, but her right was silver, full of wires that sparked faintly. One eye glowed red while the other looked tired, almost human. The others called her broken long before this day. When the first house stepped forward to choose, their leader studied her. His voice was sharp like ice. This one is unstable, faulty. He turned away without another word. The second house approached. They looked her up and down with disgust. Reject. Send her back. The third didn't even speak. They only laughed, their voices echoing across the chamber like cruel bells. By the fourth rejection, the girl's head hung low. By the fifth, her chest felt hollow, as if her heart had cracked open. By the sixth, she no longer expected anything. By the seventh, she stopped breathing for a moment. 7 rejections. 7 voices saying the same thing. You are useless. You do not belong. You are not wanted. The chamber grew silent. Even the lights above seemed dimmer, as if the galaxy itself had turned away from her. The rules were clear. Those who were not chosen would be discarded, returned to the forges where they were made, stripped apart and erased. To the galaxy, she was nothing more than failed material. Her small fingers curled into fists. She wanted to scream, to beg, but her throat locked. What would be the point? No one would hear her. No one ever had. The overseer raised his voice, final and cold. This one is broken. She will be sent back. Guards moved closer. Their shadows stretched across the floor like claws. The girl shivered. Her knees weakened. Her whole body trembled as she waited for the end. But then, a sound cut through the silence. It was not cruel. It was not cold. It was a voice, soft yet firm, carrying something strange, something she had never heard before. I want her. The words made the chamber freeze. Every alien turned their heads, confused. The overseer frowned. What did you say? I said I want her, the voice repeated. From the crowd, a figure stepped forward. His body looked weak compared to the towering aliens. His skin was soft, his hair dark, his eyes deep and alive. A human. The other species laughed instantly. Some whispered insults. Primitive. Foolish. Weak creature. But the human did not flinch. He walked calmly toward the girl, his step steady, his eyes never leaving her. She lifted her head just enough to see him. His face was not twisted with disgust. He did not laugh. He did not look away. Instead, his eyes were filled with something she did not understand. Warmth. Her broken circuits buzzed. Her organic heart skipped. For the first time, she felt noticed. Truly noticed. The overseer's voice was sharp. You cannot be serious. She is defective. She has no value. Why claim what others have already rejected? The human smiled faintly. Because she is still alive. And that is enough. The girl's breath caught. She wanted to speak but could not find the words. Her voice trembled inside her chest. The overseer slammed his staff against the floor. You will be mocked for this. You risk shame. You risk the law. But the human only shrugged. I do not care about their laughter. I care about her. The aliens jeered louder now, mocking both of them. The girl's knees weakened again, but not from despair. From something new. Something unfamiliar. Hope. The guards hesitated, looking to the overseer for orders. The chamber had never seen anything like this before. A human choosing the broken? It was madness. But the human reached out his hand, palm open, waiting. The girl's red eye flickered. Her chest ached, slowly, with fear and doubt crawling inside her. She lifted her trembling hand. Her fingers touched his. Warmth. Real warmth. Not the cold touch of wires, not the empty stares of those who judged her. For the first time in her short, fragile life, she felt like she belonged somewhere. Not to a house. Not to a system, but to a person. The chamber filled with laughter and outrage. But she no longer heard them. All she heard was his voice, quiet yet steady, as he leaned closer and whispered so only she could hear. You are not broken. You are mine now. Her eye widened. Her throat finally opened. A soft word escaped her lips, the first word spoken in hope, not fear. "Why?" she asked. The human smiled gently. "Because you deserve to live," and in that moment, the girl who had been rejected 7 times, cast aside as nothing, felt the spark of something greater than any machine could build, greater than any alien law could decide. She felt alive. The chamber still echoed with laughter as the human held the girl's hand. To everyone else it was a joke, a strange act of pity from a weak species. But to the girl it felt like the first time someone had seen her not as a failure, but as something worth saving. The overseer leaned forward, his many eyes burning. "Do you even know what you are doing, human? She is broken, defective, worthless." The human did not let go of her hand. His voice was calm, but there was steel behind it. "She is alive." "That is enough for me," the other alien leaders hissed, their bodies shaking with disgust. "Humans, always chasing weakness, always drowning in emotion. You will regret this." But the human did not answer them. He turned his gaze to the girl, and for a moment it was as if the rest of the galaxy had vanished. She stared at him, her voice shaking. "Why me? Why? Choose me." He knelt slightly so his eyes were level with hers. "Because everyone else saw what you lack. I see what you still have." Her red eye flickered uncertainly. "But I am broken." "They all said so." "Broken?" he whispered, tilting his head. "No, just different. And sometimes different is the most valuable thing of all." The words made her chest tighten. No one had ever said such things to her. No one had ever looked at her like that with belief. The overseer slammed his staff again. "Enough! Human, you will face the law for this insult. Take your pet and leave this place. But remember, the galaxy does not forgive those who defy its order." The guard stepped back, unsure. No one had expected the human to resist. No one had expected him to win. The human nodded slowly, then guided the girl out of the chamber. The mocking voices followed them, sharp and cruel, but he did not care. He walked with steady steps, and she followed, half afraid, half in awe. The corridor outside was dimly lit, lined with glowing walls that pulsed faintly like veins. The girl hesitated, her metallic fingers twitching nervously. "You should not have done this," she whispered. "They will punish you, maybe? Kill you?" The human chuckled softly, not unkindly. "I have been punished before. I am still here." She tilted her head, confused. "You risk so much. For me? Why?" He stopped walking and turned to her. His expression was gentle, but his eyes carried a weight she could not fully understand. Because no one deserves to be erased simply because they don't fit someone else's idea of perfect. The words struck her like a spark to dry wood. Something inside her long silent heart stirred. Still doubt clung to her. "But I am not useful. I cannot fight. I cannot serve. I cannot stop." His voice was firm this time. "You do not need to earn your right to exist. You just need to live." She blinked, her organic eye wet, though she didn't understand why. Was this what others called tears? They reached a small docking bay. His ship waited there, unlike the grand alien vessels that soared like palaces in the sky. This one was simple, scratched, patched in places. To others it looked weak, unworthy. But to her it looked alive, real. The human led her aboard. Inside, the ship hummed warmly, lights flickering like quiet stars. It felt nothing like the cold chambers she had known before. He showed her a seat, buckling her in carefully as if she were something fragile but precious. She stared at him, still unsure. Finally she whispered, "You are strange." He laughed lightly. "So they say." Silence fell as the ship lifted from the bay. The stars spread before them, endless and brilliant. She had seen stars before, but never like this. From beside him, the view felt different, less lonely. Her voice was small. "Do you have a name?" "Yes," he said. "Elias." She repeated it softly, tasting the sound. "Elias." He glanced at her. "And you?" "Do you have a name?" Her head lowered. "They only called me broken. Nothing else." For a long moment, Elias said nothing. Then he shook his head firmly. "That is not your name. That is their lie. You will choose your own name when you are ready." Her heart tightened again. A name of her own? Could such a thing be possible? The journey stretched on, quiet but not heavy. Elias worked at the controls, humming a tune she did not know. She sat still, feeling the strange warmth of the ship, the strange warmth of his presence. But beneath that warmth, fear lingered. The overseer's words echoed in her mind. The galaxy will not forgive. She knew they would come for her. They would come for him, and yet, for the first time, she did not want to run from life. She turned to Elias, her voice trembling but clear. If they come, what will you do? He smiled, not looking away from the stars. I will protect you. No matter what, her circuits buzzed, her heart raced. The word echoed inside her like a secret flame. Protect. She whispered again, barely audible. Why? He looked at her, his eyes calm but fierce. Because you deserve to live. The same words as before. But this time she believed him a little more. And as the stars stretched on, the girl who had been rejected by 7 began to feel something she had never dared to feel before. Hope. The stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's window. A sea of light and darkness that seemed to go on forever. The girl sat quietly, her hands resting in her lap as Elias guided the vessel through silent space. She had traveled before, carried like cargo from one alien station to another, but never like this. Never with someone who treated her as more than a tool. Still, the fear did not leave her. Every beep of the console, every flicker of light made her heart jump. She expected alarms, expected the overseer's ships to appear at any moment. The galaxy would not forget what Elias had done. She was certain of it. Her voice trembled as she asked, They will come. Won't they? Elias didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on the glowing map ahead, but his tone was calm. Maybe, but by the time they do, we'll be far away. And Earth is not so easy for them to touch. Earth. She whispered the word, testing it as though it might break on her tongue. It felt heavy, unfamiliar, yet somehow safe. What is it like? He finally turned his gaze to her. His lips curved into the faintest smile. Messy, loud, wild. Nothing like their perfect metal cities or their sterile stations. On Earth, nothing stays still. The oceans move, the skies change, people argue and laugh and build and destroy. It is alive. Alive. The word struck her like a pulse. She had only known silence and rejection, cold halls where every step echoed. Could such a place exist? A world not built of rules and fear, but of change and life? Her mechanical fingers twitched. And I will be safe there? Elias did not promise safety. Instead, he said, You will be free there. Her breath caught. Free. She had never thought such a word could belong to her. The hours passed quietly. Elias hummed again, the same strange tune as before. She watched him work, steady hands moving across the controls. His ship was old, patched, full of scars from journeys past. Yet it felt more alive than the polished alien vessels she had seen. Maybe because it reflected him, imperfect, stubborn, but enduring. She turned her gaze to the stars. For the first time, they seemed less like distant fires and more like lanterns guiding her somewhere she had never dared dream of. But the warmth of hope fought with the cold edge of her failing body. Her circuits buzzed, her joints stiffened, and the glow in her red eye dimmed. She shifted uncomfortably, trying to hide the weakness. Elias noticed anyway. His brow furrowed as he crouched beside her seat. You're failing faster than I expected. Her throat tightened. I told you. I am broken. He shook his head firmly. No, not broken, wounded. And wounds can be healed. She wanted to believe him, but doubt clung to her like a shadow. They said, If I am repaired, the law will punish it. It is forbidden. Elias gave a dry laugh. The law was written by those who fear change. On Earth, we have a saying. Laws are made by people, not the universe. And people can be wrong. Her eye widened slightly. She had never heard such words spoken so boldly. To her, laws were unshakable, eternal. But Elias treated them like chains that could be broken. She whispered, Then, what will you do? His eyes softened. I will fix you. Not because you must serve me. Not because you must prove yourself. But because I want you to live. That's all? Something warm rushed through her chest, almost painful. She lowered her gaze, afraid of what she was feeling. As the ship drew closer to Earth's system, the girl saw it for the first time. A small blue sphere floating in the dark, wrapped in white clouds glowing with green and gold. Her breath caught sharply. It is beautiful. Elias smiled faintly, pride shining in his eyes. Yes, it is flawed, dangerous, and sometimes cruel. But it is ours, and maybe it can be yours too. She pressed her hand against the window, her fingers trembling. The world looked nothing like the cold forges or silent halls she had known. It looked alive, just as he said. Alive and waiting, yet fear coiled inside her again. What if they find me there? What if they take me away? Elias leaned back in his chair, his voice steady. Then they'll have to go through me first. Her circuits buzzed, her organic heart pounding fast. He said it so simply, as if it was not a threat but a fact. She whispered, "Why do you care so much?" "You don't even know me." He glanced at her, his eyes calm but fierce. "Because once long ago someone told me I was useless too. Someone told me I didn't belong. If not for the person who gave me a chance, I wouldn't be here. Now it's my turn." The words sank deep into her. He wasn't saving her out of pity. He was saving her because he understood. The ship entered Earth's orbit, and the blue planet filled the window like a promise. The girl's chest ached, not from failure but from something new, hope mixed with fear. As the ship descended, lights flickered on her failing circuits. She shivered, realizing she might not survive much longer. But for the first time, she wanted to. She wanted to live. The ship landed with a soft thud on Earth's surface. The girl had expected a shining city, tall towers like the alien worlds. But instead, she saw wild green trees swaying in the wind, a sky painted in colors she had never known. Soft blue, burning orange, fading into dark purple. The air smelled different here, alive and sharp. She stepped carefully onto the ground. Grass brushed her feet and she shivered at the strange tickling feeling. Everything around her moved, leaves rustling, insects humming, water flowing in the distance. It was nothing like the silent, perfect stations of the galaxy. Here, life was everywhere. Elias watched her quietly, as if seeing her wonder was worth more than anything. "This is Earth," he said simply. "Imperfect, chaotic, beautiful." Her red eye flickered. "It feels alive." He smiled faintly. "So do you." She wanted to believe him. But her body betrayed her. Sparks jumped along her metal arm, her joints stiffened, and pain shot through her chest. She gasped, falling to her knees. Elias rushed to her side, steadying her with firm hands. "Easy, easy, don't fight it," her voice cracked. "I told you. I am broken. I will not last," but Elias shook his head. His eyes burned with quiet determination. "Then I will not let you fade. I will fix you." He carried her into a small workshop hidden beneath his home. It was cluttered with strange tools, half-finished machines, and glowing wires. It smelled of oil and metal, but also something warm, something human. He set her gently on a table and began laying out his instruments. She watched nervously, her heart pounding. "It is forbidden," she whispered. "If the galaxy learns you repaired me, they will come. They will punish you." Elias paused for a moment, then looked at her with steady eyes. "They already hate me for choosing you. Why should I care what they think of how I save you?" Her lips trembled. No one had ever spoken like that before. No one had ever chosen danger for her sake. He touched her shoulder gently, his hand warm against her cold skin. "I will not force you. If you don't want this, I will stop." For a long moment she stayed silent, torn between fear and longing. Finally, her voice broke softly. "I want to live." Elias nodded once. "Then let's begin." The repairs were slow, careful, and risky. He worked with tools that hummed and sparked, weaving human technology with alien design. The girl lay still, her red eye watching every move. She had expected pain, but instead she felt something strange. Gentleness. He did not cut carelessly, did not replace her parts as if she were a machine. Every action was thoughtful, as if he were repairing a person, not an object. As he worked, he spoke quietly. "When I was young, they said I was useless too. Said humans could never stand against the great houses of the galaxy. But do you know what kept me alive?" Her voice was weak. "What?" "Someone who believed in me. One person was enough. That's all it takes sometimes. Just one." His words settled deep inside her. Could she be enough for him as someone once was for him? Hours passed. Sparks flew. Her circuits hummed stronger than before. When he finally stepped back, sweat on his brow, he whispered, "Try to move." She lifted her arm, the one that had once twitched and failed, and it obeyed her, smoothly, cleanly. For the first time in her memory, it felt whole. Her eyes widened. You fixed me." Elias shook his head. "No, you were never broken. You were only waiting for someone to see you." Tears filled her organic eye. She did not know how to hold them back. Why do this for me?" He looked at her, tired but smiling. because you deserve hope, and because I believe you're stronger than they ever knew." But even in the warmth of the workshop, shadows lingered. The galaxy had not forgotten. Across the stars, whispers spread. The human had defied the law, had repaired the broken. She felt it in her bones, in the faint static in her circuits. The hunters would come. The overseers would not allow this rebellion. Her fear returned sharp as a blade. "They will come for you, for me. We cannot fight them." Elias placed a hand over hers, steady and sure. "Maybe we cannot fight them all, but we can live free until they try. And when they do," his eyes hardened, "we will not run." Her heart pounded, torn between terror and something stronger. For the first time, she believed him. She looked at her repaired arm, at her new strength. For years, she had been told she was useless, a failure, nothing but scraps. But here, in this messy workshop on a wild planet, a human had given her something the galaxy never had. Hope. And hope, she realized, was more dangerous than any weapon. The night on Earth was quiet. The wind moved softly through the trees, carrying the smell of wet soil and grass. In the small workshop, the girl sat on the table, flexing her repaired arm, still amazed by how smoothly it moved. Sparks no longer jumped from her joints. Her red eye glowed steady, stronger. For the first time, she felt whole. Elias stood nearby, cleaning his tools. His movements were calm, almost ordinary, as if he had not just broken the most feared law in the galaxy. But the girl's heart was restless. Her circuits buzzed with unease. She whispered, "They know. They will come." Elias didn't look up. "Yes, they will." Her voice shook. "Then we must run." He set the tool down and turned to her. His gaze was steady, heavy with something stronger than fear. "I have run before." "Not this time." Her chest tightened. He spoke as if facing the entire galaxy was no more frightening than standing in the rain. How could he be so calm when she was shaking inside? The calm ended with the sound, a low hum growing louder, filling the night air. The ground trembled. The girl's head snapped up, her red eye flashing. She knew that sound too well, the engines of a galactic vessel. Elias moved to the door, opening it just enough to see the dark sky above. A massive shadow descended through the clouds, lights burning across its hull. The overseer had not wasted time. The enforcers were here. The girl's breath caught. "Elias." He closed the door gently and walked back to her. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "Whatever happens, you are not going back with them." Her voice cracked. "If you fight them, they will kill you. If I go, at least you live." But he shook his head, sharp and final. "No, I will not let them take you. You have a right to live, and I will fight for that right, even if the whole galaxy stands against me." Her body trembled, torn between fear and something deeper. She had been rejected her whole life, called worthless, and now here was a human who would risk everything for her. The door burst open. Figures stepped inside, tall, armored enforcers with glowing masks. Their voices were metallic, echoing in unison. "By order of galactic law, surrender the defective unit." The girl flinched at the word defective. It cut deep, as it always had, but Elias stood tall in front of her, blocking their path. "She is not defective," he said coldly. "She is alive, and she is mine." The enforcers tilted their heads, almost amused. "The law is not yours to question, human. Step aside or be erased with her." The girl grabbed Elias's sleeve, her voice breaking. "Please, and let me go. Don't die for me." He looked back at her and his voice softened. "I told you once, and I will tell you again, I will never let them take you." The enforcers moved forward, weapons glowing with blue light. Elias reached to his side and pulled a small device, a human weapon. Simple, nothing compared to alien tech. The enforcers laughed. "Primitive," one hissed. "You think that can save you?" Elias smirked faintly. "No, but I don't need to save myself. I only need to keep her free." The girl's circuits buzzed wildly. Her repaired systems lit up, strength flowing through her body. For the first time, she realized she could move, she could fight, she could choose. She stood beside Elias, her red eye burning. "Then I will fight too." He glanced at her, and for a moment pride flickered in his eyes. The enforcers struck first. Beams of energy shot across the room, blasting the walls, filling the air with smoke and sparks. Elias moved quickly, dodging, firing back with sharp precision. His weapon was weaker, but his movements were unpredictable, wild like Earth itself. The girl leapt forward, her repaired arm catching an enforcer's strike. The force rattled her bones, but her body held. She shoved hard, sending the towering figure stumbling back. Her circuits burned, but they did not fail. For the first time, she was not the broken one. She was strong. The enforcers hissed in frustration. Impossible. She was defective. Elias fired again, striking the mask of one, sparks flying. Not defective, he growled. Alive, but the fight was not easy. More enforcers poured into the workshop, their glowing weapons surrounding them. Elias's weapon sparked, almost empty. The girl's chest ached, her systems strained. One enforcer raised his weapon at Elias's chest. She saw it, her red eye flashing with terror. No! She moved faster than she thought possible, her repaired arm striking the enforcer away just as the weapon fired. The beam grazed Elias, burning his side. He cried out, stumbling back. The girl caught him before he fell. Panic surged through her. His face was pale, his breath shallow, her voice shook violently. Elias, stay with me. He forced a weak smile. Still here. Told you I wouldn't let them take you. Tears blurred her vision. She turned, facing the enforcers, her body trembling with rage. Something inside her changed. For years she had been told she was broken, worthless, nothing. But now, with Elias wounded in her arms, she felt a fire burn within her stronger than any circuit. She stood tall, her red eye blazing. You will not take him. You will not take me. Not ever. The enforcers paused, surprised by the strength in her voice. She stepped forward, her repaired body moving with power and purpose. For the first time, she was not afraid. Behind her, Elias whispered, his voice weak but full of pride. That's it. Show them who you are. And with that, the broken one who had been rejected by 7 now stood against the galaxy, not as a failure, but as someone worth fighting for. Smoke filled the workshop. The air stank of burning metal and scorched wires. Sparks danced across the floor as Galactic enforcers closed in, their glowing masks reflecting the firelight. Elias leaned against the wall, wounded, his breath uneven. The girl stood in front of him, her red eye blazing, her repaired body trembling but unbroken. The enforcers raised their weapons. Defective unit, one hissed. Surrender or both of you will be erased. For a moment, the girl almost froze. The word defective still pierced her like a knife. But then she looked back at Elias, pale, bleeding but smiling faintly as if he still believed in her. Something inside her snapped. Her voice rang out, clear and strong. I am not defective. I am alive, the enforcers faltered, surprised. The girl clenched her fists, her circuits glowing with new energy. And I will not let you take him. The fight began again. An enforcer lunged, swinging a blade of pure energy. The girl caught it with her repaired arm. Sparks exploded as the blade met metal, but this time she did not falter. With a cry, she shoved the weapon aside and struck the enforcer's chest, sending him crashing into the wall. Elias fired his weapon from behind her, hitting another enforcer in the shoulder. His aim was weak from blood loss, but his spirit burned bright. Left side, he shouted, guiding her through the chaos. She spun just in time, her metal arm blocking a strike aimed for her head. Her other hand, flesh and trembling, punched forward. For years that hand had been too weak to fight, but now it carried her will. The enforcer stumbled back, shocked. The girl gasped, chest heaving, but she felt something strange rush through her. Strength, not failure. The enforcers regrouped. One raised his voice, metallic and harsh. This is impossible. She was a reject. She cannot fight. Elias coughed, smirking despite his wound. That's the thing about humans. And those we care for. We don't follow your rules, the enforcers charged again. The workshop shook under the battle. Furniture shattered, tools clattered to the ground. The girl and Elias fought side by side, every move born not from perfection but from stubborn survival. The girl leapt higher than she thought possible, kicking one enforcer across the room. Her circuits sparked, but instead of failing, they roared louder, fueling her body. Another enforcer aimed his weapon at Elias, but she dove in front, taking the blast against her metal arm. The pain burned, but she did not fall. She stood tall, glaring at them. You see me as broken, but he saw me as more. And because of him, I am more. The enforcers hesitated. For the first time, uncertainty cracked through their cold voices. They had expected weakness, surrender. Instead, they found defiance, something they did not understand, something they feared. One hissed, You will bring chaos to the order. The girl's red eye blazed. Then let there be chaos. With a roar, she charged, striking faster, harder, her repaired body moving as if powered by her will alone. Elias, weak but determined, fought beside her, his shots striking true. Together they drove the enforcers back step by step. The overseer's voice crackled through their comms, sharp with disbelief. Retreat. Regroup. This fight is not worth the cost. One by one, the enforcers pulled back, their glowing masks vanishing into the smoke. The ship that had brought them lifted into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. The workshop fell silent, save for the crackle of fire and Elias's labored breathing. The girl turned quickly, dropping to her knees beside him. "Elias, stay with me." He smiled faintly, his hand weakly reaching to touch hers. "Told you, we wouldn't run." Her tears fell freely, dripping onto his hand. "You almost died. For me." He winced but chuckled softly. "Worth it." Her chest tightened, a storm of fear, grief, and something else, something fierce. She had fought for the first time, not because she was ordered, not because she was forced, but because she chose to protect him. And in that choice, she had found herself. She whispered, voice breaking but strong with resolve. "I will not let them take you. I will not let them take me, ever." Outside, the stars burned silently, but in the shadows of the galaxy, whispers had already begun. A human had defied the law. A broken one had fought back and won. The girl looked at Elias, her tears drying into determination. "They will come again," she said softly. Elias nodded, eyes heavy but steady. "Then we'll be ready, together." She squeezed his hand, her circuits humming with fire. For the first time she believed it. She was not broken. She was chosen. By him and by her own will. And if the galaxy wanted to fight, then she would fight back. Not as a reject. Not as a failure, but as someone alive. The night was heavy with smoke. The stars above Earth glimmered faintly, as if watching what had just happened below. The workshop was ruined, walls cracked, tools scattered, fire still glowing in the corners. Yet inside, something new had been born. The girl knelt beside Elias, her red eye dim but steady, her repaired arm trembling from the fight. He was weak, his wound burning, but he still held her hand as if to remind her he was there. "You did it," he whispered, his voice ragged but proud. "You stood. You fought. You lived." Her chest tightened, tears falling freely. "I only fought because of you. You gave me the chance," but Elias shook his head slowly. "No, I opened a door. You chose to walk through it. That was all you." His words burned inside her like fire. For so long, her life had been shaped by rejection. 7 powerful houses had looked at her and seen nothing but a mistake. Yet this one human had looked at her and seen something worth saving. And because of him, she had seen it too. The silence did not last. Above, the hum of engines filled the air again. A larger vessel descended, its shadow covering the trees. This was no simple group of enforcers. This was a ship meant to bring fear, a warning to all who disobeyed the law. The girl stood, her circuits humming with new strength. Her body still ached, her system still fragile, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. She faced the sky as voices echoed from the ship. "Human Elias, defective unit. You have broken the law. Surrender or Earth will suffer." The threat struck deep. She had only just seen Earth, its green fields, its wild rivers, its living sky. The thought of losing it, of losing Elias, filled her with rage. She raised her voice, loud and clear, carrying across the smoke and fire. "I am not defective." The ship's lights glared brighter, scanning the ground. She stepped forward, unafraid. "I was rejected. I was cast aside, but I am alive. I am stronger than your rules, and I will never belong to your chains again." Elias tried to push himself up, pain etched on his face. "Careful." But she turned back, her eyes glowing fiercely. "No, Elias, for once let me protect you." The words stunned him. For so long he had carried the burden of defiance alone. Now she carried it with him. She stepped into the open field, the ship looming above like a predator. Every instinct told her to hide, to surrender, to obey. But she remembered his words. Laws are made by people. And people can be wrong. Her voice rang out again. "You call me broken because I am not perfect. But perfection is empty. I am alive because a human believed in me. And that bond is stronger than any of your laws." There was silence from the ship. Then laughter, cold, metallic, cruel. "A machine dares to claim a soul? A human dares to defy the galaxy? You are nothing." But this time she did not shake. She lifted her repaired arm. the scars of her struggle visible, and shouted, "Then I will be nothing, and still I will stand." Elias, still leaning against the broken doorway, smiled faintly through his pain. His voice carried, soft but firm. "That's what makes us human." Something shifted in the sky. The ship did not fire. The enforcers did not descend. Instead, they hesitated. For the first time, the iron law cracked. Not with violence, but with words, with defiance, with the undeniable truth of a bond they could not understand. Other ships had been watching. Other species were listening. Whispers would spread, about a broken one who fought back, about a human who defied the galaxy not with power but with belief. The girl looked back at Elias, tears still streaking her face. "They will come again." He nodded, weary but unafraid. "Then let them. We'll face them together." She walked back to him, helping him stand, her repaired arms steady beneath his weight. For the first time, she was not following orders, not being dragged, not being discarded. She was choosing. Together, they stepped into the open night. Above them, the stars burned brighter, as if marking the beginning of something new. The galaxy had wanted her erased. 7 houses had rejected her. She had been sent back as broken. But here on Earth, with Elias at her side, she was no longer broken. She was chosen. The girl lifted her head, her voice quiet but strong. "I have no name, but if you allow me, I will carry yours." Elias's eyes widened, then softened. "Names don't make you who you are, but if you want mine, then you'll have it, and together we'll make them remember it." Her red eye glowed warmly, brighter than ever before. For the first time in her life, she felt whole, not because she was fixed, but because she was seen. The galaxy would not forgive them. The galaxy would come again, but it no longer mattered, because one human had said, "I want her." And because of that, she had learned the greatest truth of all. The human bond could not be broken.